My dad was a printer in the civil service. No, he wasn't a Hewlett-Packard, don't be silly. But from the day he left school to the day he retired, he had the same job. But that concept of a job for life seems to be a thing of the past. But what if you didn't need a job to get paid? What if you could receive an income just for existing? Like hens. With AI threatening to be an extinction level event for many careers, the idea of a universal basic income, or UBI, may finally have come of age. But would it be fair to give equal handouts to everyone, whether they're an unwashed bum like me or a virile zillionaire like James Dyson, the suck man? Would it create a utopia, or would it turn us all into lazy lumps of meat, just lolling around waiting for the next series of Toilet Squad?
Investigating toilet crimes. There are specialized toilet-based crimes unit. Toilet Squad are coming for you. They're going to solve the crime that happened in your toilet.
I've been investigating what UBI is, why it should matter to you, and at the end I'm going to reveal the one question we should all be asking. Let's break it down.
Oh yeah.
A universal basic income means you get a regular payment just for being you, and that's whether you're working, studying, or you're like wandering around a field like some perfumed Edwardian fop. Each month a set amount would squat down in your bank account waiting to be spent. What it's used for is up to you, but the idea is it would cover the basics: food, rent, vapes, thereby reducing poverty and giving us all a pair of safety knickers. Let's say the government decides to give everyone £1,000 a month. That's about £1,000 in today's money. Unfortunately, money doesn't just fall from the sky like dead birds, it has to come from somewhere. And one of the most obvious places that can come from is by imposing a tax on the super rich and corporations, hopefully at a rate that isn't a slap in the face to the rest of us like it is now. Let's say we weren't living in a corrupt capitalist dystopia that favours powerful billionaires and only functions due to a ceaseless myopic pursuit of profit and keeps the rest of us downtrodden and forced into being cogs in their machine from the second we're born. Here's why UBI might be a good idea. First off, if everyone receives a guaranteed income, poverty will be dramatically reduced. We'd be able to afford food and shoes. Nice, right in there. Ow, ow, ow. I can't get, ow, 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 ow. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ow! Ow. AI is coming for us all, and it absolutely will not stop ever until we are dead. The jobs market is already undergoing a massive transformation, with plenty of traditional long-standing roles being filled by machines. We're all having nightmares about it. I mean, last night I dreamt I have a beak. Universal basic income could be a safety net. It could give people the opportunity to find a new job or retrain or fulfill their ambition of being a breakdancer. UBI would help level the playing field, and because it goes to everyone, it wouldn't have the stigma that you often get with welfare payments. It would help close the income gap. You know, we've all felt it. The rich get richer and the rest of us feel poorer and poorer. I mean, this topic matters to me because for Sanya and I, the last couple of years have been absolutely brutal. I went from having a successful, well-paid, award-winning career to feeling like I've been mugged by society. Having my face smashed repeatedly against the wall. Just ask my patrons how relentless it's been, because I have whinged to them constantly about it. The reason this has happened to us is part of a wider issue that's affected the whole of my industry that I work in. If you want us to make a video about that, leave a comment below. But like so many people, we had no choice but to chew through savings, to take out loans just to survive, just to eat sometimes. And experiencing this, becoming a kind of newly born pauper, has opened my eyes to the unfairness of the system. The odds are stacked against anyone who wasn't dragged into this world by a pair of golden forceps. It's kind of why we changed the direction of this channel, because I want to understand the systems and the forces that govern us and why they favour the few. If you want to know what we're up against, watch our videos on Canary Wharf on the military-industrial complex. I'll leave links below. I feel angry, I feel frustrated, and worst of all, I feel powerless in the face of these omnipresent systems that we are brainwashed into believing are the only systems possible. So how do any of us take our power back? Is universal basic income a possible solution? Ontario, Canada ran a UBI pilot scheme from 2018 and 2019 for 4,000 moose knuckleheads. Although the scheme was stopped early because the new government came in with different priorities, the participants reported being happier and less stressed, and they were able to pursue education or take punts on new jobs. And the same thing happened in Finland when they did it there. People said having a universal basic income made them happier and less anxious.
In 1984, toilet-related crimes in the state of Oregon skyrocketed 500%. In response, a crack law enforcement unit was formed, composed entirely of elite toilet specialists. Its name? Toilet Squad. Today, the brave men and women of Toilet Squad dedicate their lives to eradicating all crime involving toilets and related ephemera. Today's episode, a bird in the bowl is worth two in the sink.
The first barrier to a universal basic income is the cost. It could cost a government billions, possibly even trillions. And there are those who would argue that that money could be better spent on education or healthcare, two areas that contribute to poverty. Plus, critics suggest that some people might just sit around waiting for their £1,000 to appear in their bank and do nothing other than post all day on the Toilet Squad subreddit, which could lead to a smaller workforce and increased economic pressure. It could lead to hyperinflation because people would have a higher disposable income. So it would be a sort of reverse Black Friday where you'd get price hikes instead of discounted air fryers. And between that and fewer people in work, so fewer taxes being collected, it could wipe out any benefits of universal basic income entirely. And then there's the possibility that UBI is just a form of state control. Imagine a friend gives you £1,000. They don't want it paid back, they don't want anything in return, it's just a gift. You'd feel pretty indebted to them. I mean, just ask Sakir, how else am I going to go to the football starmer? Now let's imagine that friend's name is Mr. HM Government. Some argue that UBI is just another form of state control. China's proposed social credit system shows how big government can impact personal freedoms. While it's intended to promote good behaviour, it's raised concerns about privacy, surveillance and state coercion. Post something anti-government online, you might find yourself forbidden from travelling on buses or prevented from getting an education or a job, or even banned from B&M. So the jury is out on universal basic income. But are we questioning the wrong thing? Stinks of fungus here. Is the real question about whether our society is fundamentally flawed? We've kind of stumbled into this kind of lopsided form of capitalism where the ultimate measure of success is how hard you work and how much wealth you have. They keep us chained to a treadmill until we can no longer run and we're no longer useful to them. For most of us, the carrot is always in view. We see these millionaire lifestyles on Instagram and social media and we think that could be ours if only we can reach it. But it never seems to get any closer. But unlike a carrot, capitalism didn't sprout out of the ground. It was imagined into existence. It's a made-up thing. It's a story that we've been told our whole lives is a real and tangible thing that has somehow come to shape everything from the environment to our health to war. Those at the top control all the wealth and resources while the rest of us yearn for a sniff of what they have. We brand ourselves with their logos. We follow them on social media for a peek past the velvet rope. We buy their designer handbags, we buy their energy drinks, all for a chance to be an atom's width closer to Olympus. We scrabble around on the floor, inhaling scraps to imagine what life would be like among the gods, because we have been told that this shit matters and there's only one possible way to get it. But for the 21% of people in the UK who are living in low-income households through no fault of their own, this shit is a distraction from the stress and anxiety of their lives. You shouldn't have to be considered a failure for not being the next suck. Something coming and I'm saying, man. It should be okay that not everyone has it in them to be the next suck. I can't. It should be okay that not everyone has it in them or even wants to be the next suck man. It should be okay that not everyone has it in them or even wants to become the next suck man. I mean, how? Why are people using food banks in Britain in the 21st century? How is that right? It's like poverty has been normalised. I mean, even internet access is considered a basic utility these days, but is there any utility in a capitalist society more important than feeding your children? I get it. You know, some people might dismiss a universal basic income as some sort of form of communism, but a more equal and fair distribution of wealth doesn't have to be some liberal pinko socialist idea. You know, as we're facing this jobs apocalypse with AI, short of going back to a feudal system where we're all growing our own turnips, it just seems to me that changing the way society works is common sense. But unfortunately, common sense is in short supply these days. Money is literally an unlimited resource that we are told is finite. It's the carrot dangled in front of our faces as a tool to motivate us. And that is why those at the top of the wealth pyramid, those who benefit most from us being motivated, don't want us to have too much of it. This isn't real, by the way. I wish. Money, like capitalism isn't real. Sorry if that comes as a shock, like finding out that Hey Dougie isn't a true story. It's just a imaginary concept that we've chosen to give value to. Money increasingly doesn't even exist in a sort of physical form. It's ephemeral, it's numbers on a computer. There is as little or as much money as we decide there is. It's why politicians implement tax policies that favour the already wealthy, because the wealthy can afford to influence policy through gifts, donations and lobbying. And it's getting worse. The poorest fifth of UK households spend 23% of their disposable income on indirect taxes like VAT, whereas the richest fifth only spend 9%. Money for services and the NHS and to fix roads obviously has to come from somewhere, but they're taking it from us, not them. So what is the solution to all this? I'm pretty sure we're not going to find it by buggering off to Mars or posting misinformation on social media. Is it a universal basic income? You be the judge. Personally, maybe. I don't know. I know it would have helped Sanya and I over the last couple of years if we hadn't been left to deal with a whole set of circumstances that weren't our fault. You know, but wealth inequality is out of control in this country, and I don't see our new government currently displaying any signs of giving a shit about it. Take money from the pensioners. That's been their big policy so far. What a disappointment. The Pandora's box of AI is open now. You know, we can see the asteroid getting closer, but because everyone's sort of locked into this short-termism that capitalism demands, there are no steps being taken to kind of mitigate what could potentially be a disaster. We should be pushing to redress and redefine and restructure this system that has led to this massive wealth inequality. We say it a lot on this channel, but there are more of us than them. Yes, they have yachts, but maybe if we make enough noise, we can make a difference. Let's discuss it in the comments. If you want to see more of our shockingly little ordinary lives mean to these people, click here. And in the meantime, we'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. It's free.